Right, welcome everyone. It is April the 12th, 2024, and we are studying truth with Archangel Michael. And there we go. So we're in the 9th dimension, the Lurion, Clavicle Chakra with Michael, especially with Michael today. We're going to get to Gabriel and Uriel soon, but I think it's mostly Michael today. Okay, so here's our mission: to create peace on earth, let go the belief systems, especially utilizing the blessing and virtue of truth and love. Truth and love are very interconnected. That's why they've talked quite a bit about both in this channeling about truth. And yes, the Divine Mother's clarity is also connected to the blue. Michael likes us to ask, what is the expression of our infinite potential each day? And to listen. It's a great practice in heart listening, and then to do what he asks us to do. Okay, so let's do our invocation, because personally I feel this is working. It's really working. I don't know if you guys are having any breakthroughs, but it's like woohoo. Okay, so shall we say it together? I invoke
the Lurion Chakra,
the divine blessing and virtue
and
truth, the universal law of instantaneous transmission and transformation, the 9th dimension, the Divine Mother's clarity, Archangel Michael's blue flame of truth, for completion of cycles, for perfect alignment with who I am, with who we are. Perfect. Okay, so there we are. Look at how far up the chart we are. Right up here, right up just underneath the throat. It's deeper surrender into the truth, so you can see what's really going on here. We're going to get to that law, instantaneous transmission and transformation, but we're in the 9th dimension. We're learning all about the 9th dimension of truth. Okay, and here's the fields. We're really cleaning up these fields. We want this field, which is the causal, which is all the past lives, to come to peace, neutrality, compassion for everything that we've been involved with in many, many, many lifetimes on and off planet. So that's why that one is blue. We want to peace out way out here in the field, and then the mental becomes more loving, especially for self, and then also for parental figures early life, because that's when a lot of the trauma anchors in, and we just want to get to neutral about anything we've experienced, and then the emotional body will shift into that love, and it falls into the physical body for perfect health. We want to get into that space where we're really enjoying our time here. Okay, and this is the reminder to sit in Archangel Michael's blue flame of truth, to burn away doubt, denial, limitation every day. Allow it to expand and consume us, the blue flame. You can sit in it, just imagine it coming up around you, become like a sponge, allowing our infinite potential from throughout the universe, the multiverse, the omniverse, and the source to fill us. And feel that sense of expansion, and then ask the question, today, Michael, what is the expression of my infinite potential? Michael says it will be different each day because we do different things each day, that is an expression of our infinite potential. Every day is different. And he says this is where the key lies, even if it seems outrageous or too benignly simple, to please do what he asks us to do. So it's a practice in listening. That's all it is. Heart listening to Michael. And he says you can use the silver flame with Uriel. I mean, there's lots of different flames. The purple, the violet flame with Saint Germain. So you can change it up. But yeah, any of the flames are very, very useful. So there's the blue. Yep, Darren.
Yeah, it's also an exercise in trust as well. Eh?
Trust, surrender, so many things, all the divine qualities, really. And coming into that alignment with who we truly are. It's clarity. This is the blue of clarity. So in clarity is everything. The mother's clarity.
And yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. It's just, and it's a good practice to get into, that consistency. And trust
Yeah.
is blue, faith is blue, remembering is blue, forgiveness is blue, serenity is blue. Like, there's so much that's within the blue. So not only are you working on infinite potential, but it's so much more.
And I think it's so important to develop that trust, because without the trust, how can you really, well, trust all the masters, for example, like Michael?
Yeah. And trust yourself.
Well, yeah, it comes down to that as well, right? For sure.
That's the most important one. Trust yourself. Trust your divinity. Trust that you are an angel. You were birthed an angel.
Well, trusting that I am contacting my divinity and listening to my divinity.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, Ken.
One of the things that just occurred to me is that we're either thinking with our ego or with our higher self. And I was just noticing that the more we give our higher self the attention, the easier it is to do these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And Michael always says it's heart listening. It's out of the mind and it's into the heart. The heart is a bigger brain than the actual mind. So it's a different type of thinking, I have to say.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, that's how you get out of the ego, is to get into the heart, because the ego isn't in the heart. That's in the mind.
Well, it is actually. The ego's just a delightful part of our personality. It's the belief systems.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
it's not in the heart, though. It's in
what
the
is,
mind.
well, if it's a delightful piece of our personality, it's got to be
Yeah,
everywhere.
the personality is in the mind.
No, not all
Yeah.
of it. It's, yeah, no, we are.
Well, except for the heart part.
No, but the spark is in the heart, and that's who we are. That's
Yeah, the spark isn't the personality,
why not?
because it's the source.
No, well, yeah, but we are. This is who we are. If you go to the other side, like, you don't disappear.
No, that's true.
Okay, so I mean,
But
it's
it's incorporated in the spark.
personality is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so is the ego. Like, ego is just something to love. The thing
Yeah,
that's gone wrong here is the belief systems.
yeah, of course it's there to love, but if you want to come from spirit or source, you have to go to your heart.
Yeah, everything is in the heart. Everything. Like, I don't think we should be separating pieces. Like, just embrace it as a huge entity that's amazing,
Yeah,
magnificent, and unique.
if you want to get out of ego, you have to go to the heart.
But ego is part of the heart. Anyways, Ken.
Well, I was just going to say that that Darren, I think we're miscommunicating.
Well, that could be, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't think that sometimes the way we state things isn't what we mean to say. So I'll just say that and keep and say goodbye.
Well, I was just going to say that the ego sometimes is a big part. And sometimes what we want is that the ego could be smaller. And that's really what we want it to be, is we don't want the ego to be such a big part. We want it to be a smaller part.
Delightful part.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We don't want the ego to be the master. It needs to be the servant.
right, exactly. That's exactly brilliantly put. Yes, thank you.
But
Sometimes I get it right.
Yeah, but okay, so Michael had that conversation with me about the servant piece, because we're all servants of the mother. So it's a weird word to use. We're all children of the mother and servants of the mother, but we're not here to, everyone's equal.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Like an
no.
archangel is the same as a speck of sand. Like he would say that. So we're
Mhm.
not here to make distinctions of something being better. The equality is what's missing here on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that at all.
Yeah. So I think when we make separations with words, I'm learning just to embrace it all. And the only thing that's really created havoc is these old belief systems. Is our fear, is our sorrow, is our guilt, our shame, our hatred, our bigotry, our own limitation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's created when we let the ego be our master.
Ego out of alignment, yeah.
Well,
But
the ego is always out of alignment because it's
no,
not coming from source.
no, I don't think so. Because then that's creating a separation. It's a part of who we are, is how Archangel Michael explained it. Like it's a delightful piece. And Sanat Kumara.
Yeah, if it's not a master, it is delightful for sure. But if it's a master, it's not too nice.
But it's connected to the belief systems again, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So if you disconnect it from the belief systems, it's delightful.
Yeah, but then you're not coming from the mind, you're coming from the heart.
But we're aligning the mind with the heart. Like we want the mind to come into alignment. We want it to be gender equality up here, peace and joy and love. And then it's delightful. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going because we got more. We got so much more here. Okay, so Michael reminds us love is the fuel, which is the power, like the sun and the solar plexus and the power, our own power in alignment, divine authority. Love is the substance. So that's actual physical form. And then love is the movement as well. So the love is the expression, how that is experienced. So think the mother's blue, the fuel and the substance is more the father, creation, gratitude, joy. So you kind of get the idea that the yellow, the gold is more like the framework, and the blue is more like the movement. But of course, love is everything too. So it's, yeah. Anyway, that's the kind of a thing there. And then truth is clarity. So it's very much connected to the mother's blue. Even though Michael says that truth is more golden here, but you can see here, it's saying truth is clarity. So this is where I'm saying that when we make separations, it's harder to see how things work in the higher realms. So everything is interconnected. Truth simply is light and love. It is the wholeness of knowing it. But see how it said it was clarity here? So that's the blue of the mother. Here is light of the father, and there's love, which is everything. So it is the wholeness of knowing. It is factual information that can stand and does stand alone, whether people know it or not. Truth is. And the reason I've got it the silvery there color and the green, because then Michael talks about it. Truth and love being like a double helix. You can't have truth without love and love without truth. So for example, the divine is a supreme knowing. Whether anyone in this room or on this planet knows this matters not. That truth cannot be altered. Wisdom is the virtue of having the good sense to know and understand that truth. Truth is the color of silver with tinges of pink and lilac. So Archangel Uriel's flame is the flame of truth, and then Archangel Michael's flame is also called the flame of truth, because truth is clarity. So when you sit in that blue energy, you're getting clarity, and you're seeing how interconnected everything is. Okay, so let's just move on. Okay, so now this is super interesting. So David has a second question. He asked about Archangel Michael's blue flame. And now we're on to, we are a creation of God, and we always say that God is love, and we're also love. But maybe you can talk about if the ultimate truth was always there, or if it is the first creation that God ever did, because this is what I ask myself always. Do I want to create myself as love, or have I always been love? And Archangel Michael says the truth of your creation is that you are love. It is the divine spark that you have carried forever and that you eventually will carry home. Everything else is an illusion. And you say, oh, Michael, no. Yes, my friends, now in that expression of your truth, which is love, there is a wonderful, beautiful tapestry of who you are, of your ray, of your color, of your expressions, of the infinite nature of your being. When you are traveling through a lifetime, it is not clearing, 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 so that you can finally embrace love. It is remembering, letting go, and acceptance of the fact that you are love, that you are loved and lovable, and that you are the essence of love. And when that acknowledgement and that knowing, that truth emerges, then it is an expansion that takes place of that essence. No, it's just remembering who we truly are, and then everything else dissolves. And I'm starting to see it as quite separate. When you love people, just love them. You can love them whoever they are, and you witness, like what I'm starting to see is just the old systems that have been like surrounding them that we can sort of see. They don't matter anymore. It's all that matters is loving them. It's like you become like a tree, and you just love like a tree, and you're not seeing what's not of love. Well, you're seeing it, but it doesn't bother you anymore. And especially within the self. Yeah, Darren.
Okay, so how do you do this remembering and letting go and accepting that you are loved and lovable?
Exactly what he said. Just remember who you are.
Yeah, but how?
Well, it's embracing yourself, loving yourself, and letting everything else go. And do it. If you're struggling with anybody, a boss, anyone, just start loving them. Just start loving them and watch the belief systems dissolve. And then do it for yourself. Love
Okay,
yourself.
so by doing that, you will get the remembering and the acceptance.
Absolutely. And remember those words. Keep saying, I remember, I am love. I am divine. I am everything. I am love. You are the substance. You are the fuel. You are the power. You are the movement. You are love.
Yeah.
That's it. That's who you are.
I like that line. You are loved and lovable. I think that's great. That's something that I would definitely need to say over and over again for sure.
And then just know it. That's your truth.
Okay, and the knowing comes from
Truth.
doing it over and over until it finally sinks in.
Or you can if you want, or just know, like just really deeply know.
Yeah,
This is who
well,
you
how
are.
do you just know?
Well,
It's not a
start by
discussion.
yeah. The way that it happened for me was I was struggling because somebody owed me a bunch of money, and I couldn't get over the fact that I was mad. And then I was like, what am I mad about? What am I mad about? I love this person. This person's my friend. So I just started loving the person. And what I noticed was I didn't care about the money anymore. Didn't make any difference. That's my friend. I love myself. I love my friend. And my feelings, because it was evoking emotion in me, I was angry. The anger just disappeared. It was the perfect example. And I know that's why this happened, for me to get this. Yes, Ken.
I was just going to say that love is a choice rather than a discussion.
Yes, exactly. It is. It just is. When we love ourselves, and if you have a hard time loving yourself, reach out and feel yourself just loving someone you have difficulty with. And just watch the old systems just fall away. It doesn't matter. They don't matter. We love the people. What we're doing is dissolving the systems that don't work. And if there's nobody out there that you struggle with, then really work on yourself. I love myself so much. Mhm.
You can also separate the person from the behavior.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
belief systems.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. We are here to love everybody, really. I mean, with prudence. It's not like I'm going to walk into the downtown east side and just start loving everyone up. But I can do that from afar. I mean, I go there and I love the ones I do the readings with and all the staff and everyone I interact with. But I can't just walk down the street, I don't think, and just say I love you to everybody. Maybe I could. I don't know. I haven't tried it.
Why would you need to say it out loud? You can always just say it in your mind. Isn't that the same thing?
Absolutely. And we do
No.
that all the time when we're out walking. I know we do.
It's a lot more powerful when it's said out loud.
Well,
But-
that's nice, but in some cases, you don't necessarily want to do it.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because it can actually frighten people.
Oh,
Mhm.
for sure, yeah.
Mhm. Like I was telling Ken and Lillian about this being that I'm working with, and it was finding it really, really hard to love the parents. And we got her to say, I love mom and I love you, dad. I love you, mom, and I love you, dad. And it all of a sudden it was extraordinary. Mhm. Yeah, because I guess, and then she says, I remember this, but I've been holding on to certain incidents for so long, it's literally created physical pain. Mhm. But sometimes we don't even realize we're carrying that resentment. We just don't.
Yeah, that's a big problem right there.
What, resentment?
Not realizing.
Oh yeah, because it's subconscious. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, Ken.
There's also something called secondary gain, which means that what do I get out of feeling bad
Mhm.
or having this whole pattern?
Yep. Right. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Because then we're the victim and we get attention.
Mhm.
We all want attention. We want love. We are love. We can just be love, and then that's everything. Okay, let's see what he says here. Okay, here we go. It is remembering, letting go, and acceptance of the fact that you are love, that you are loved and lovable, and that you are the essence of love. And when that acknowledgement and that knowing, that truth emerges, then it is an expansion that takes place of that essence. It's amazing. It really is. It's like you can walk around and it's so relaxing inside. I can just love everyone. It's really fun to do. So I say just practice. Mhm. Okay. It is as if you have an ember in your heart, in your core, that is your divine spark of love. You may think of it as light, but it is love. And then when you finally see that and acknowledge that and realize you have never been anything but love and you have always been connected, it explodes. It explodes. For some, it is a raging fire. For some, it is the warmth of a cozy campfire. It matters not. It grows, and that is how you become your infinite expression. Not just the potential, but the expression of that potential. Now, so often you think of the expression of your potential as what you do physically in the world. And of course, that is part of it, but it is also simply the light and love you carry, exude, share. That is the core. Everything that we've been talking about. And the interesting thing about this cozy campfire, raging fire, Archangel Gabriel said the same thing when she talked about joy. She explained joy to us. Mm-hmm. And remember how Archangel Raphael said there's no difference between healing and creation. Healing is the love, creation is the joy, the cozy campfire, the raging fire, the light, the spark. Yeah, it's amazing how the colors are so involved in all of this. All right.
I think that last part there is really important, where we don't have to do anything physically. We just have to walk around and exude that energy.
Yeah. So he says it's part of it. What we do physically in the world, that's part of it. So the doing, that's the expression, but the caring, exuding, sharing, and that's why we do the Monday meditation, because we're just sharing ourselves out to the world. And if we can get into the feeling of love and sharing that, that's so powerful. Because we're working more on we want to get into the emotional. The mental's way out in the field. We want to get into the emotional feeling, and that feeling falling into the heart, into like the whole physical body, and exuding that. So we're
That helps.
changing up.
So would you say that feeling part is getting into your heart, coming from your heart then, rather than the mind?
Well, you'll notice it's like the raging fire and the cozy campfire. It just exudes. Like you can feel it in your whole form, and you can feel it. It's sharing. You can feel it like, ooh, just like going out.
Okay.
But it is heart. Yeah, it's definitely heart work. But then, we're connecting the heart with the mind. So we need the mental, because look at us. We're reading the mental. We're reading the words here.
Yeah.
So the mental is a big piece of it, but the feeling just grows throughout everything.
So you would set your intention with your mind, and then the feeling would come from your heart.
Yeah, well, from some people, it might even come from the tummy. Like it might come from the solar plexus. It might come, you know what I mean? It can be different in people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's just whatever you're working with. Okay. Now this next part is really interesting, because this guy called Apple calls in and he's complaining about God. So I'm going to read the whole thing. Apple says, my question directs us, and his English isn't great. My question directs us to what the Bible says, that God doesn't change. I'm looking at the character of God in the Old Testament, that from the beginning, God created mankind. He said that he regretted he made mankind. And with the two people he created, Adam and Eve, he did not give them any knowledge, and they were given knowledge by an intruder, the serpent. God came in, he was very angry. He called up the cherubim, which implies that these were soldiers, to point arrows at the two people to drive them away from the residence. Now, cherubim are a type of angel, and they're really loving. So I'm not really sure how this all works in. And I haven't read the Old Testament. So we're just going on by what, and Archangel Michael listens to this guy, and he goes on and on. I didn't see where God offered them opportunity to repent or anything, or attempt to offer them forgiveness. So I see nothing in that part about God, which I consider Genesis, to be the inauguration of the creation of God and mankind. And I haven't seen any protection of God and anything that we today in religion use as a basis for worship and adoration to God. None of that is found, as far as I can see, unless I'm missing something. But none of the characters except God is in keeping with what we believe about God today. So my thing is, we talk about love and peace and the goodness of God. That is not shown in the character of God in the Genesis creation story. Since that, I haven't seen that. My question is my question is, he did not care about these two people when he threw them out and their offspring that they begat after they were out of God's care. The next time God intermingled with their offspring was in China, when they were building the city and the tower, and God came down specifically to disrupt their lives. So I am saying, if God does not change, how do we get God today to be a loving God? When did he give us knowledge? And when did he show that he loves us and stuff like that if this is to be the case. It isn't that then not true that God doesn't change. How does he change in this way? So I found this very confusing. But Archangel Michael says, you have answered your own question. Yes. Ken or Lillian?
Well, from what I'm thinking about is he's thinking that we created God instead of God creating us as the basis for what he's saying.
Okay. Okay. So here's what Michael says. He tells Apple, you have answered your own question, but I will clarify. First of all, your books that you refer to, whether it is the Bible or the Quran, are human interpretations of the writings. Now, we do not in any way be critical of this, but understand your feelings, the emotion of doubt. The serpent was doubt. The serpent was lack of self-worth and confidence, what Steve has referred to as certainty, and the belief that somehow that they would be punished. That was the first break. So he's talking about us understanding our feelings. And the serpent is connected to us doubting ourselves. So Apple, in the whole question, he's doubting the whole concept of God and Adam and Eve and the garden and everything. Okay. So then Michael says, what you think of as original, and that would be an entire conversation, but the essence of the races, whether they are hybrid, star seed, or human, they began in the very beginning. The creation was in the image and likeness, and might I say, the love and the energy of one. So the impression, the shock of the introduction of doubt, of lack, was so severe that what human beings did was they created a cruel and thundering and punishing God. And that is why we have been having this conversation about the elimination of this concept of control and punishment. That is not of source or one. So it is not so much, dear heart, that the unmovable, the unknowable has changed, but that the human beings have changed and evolved, and they are evolving back to the recognition of their creator self. This is very good news. So we're seeing that the old belief systems are not real, basically. And God is not cruel and thundering and punishing. But we've been through thousands of years of that, of lack of self-love and lack of self-worth. So now, when you can recognize it's just belief systems and we're here to be loving, it changes everything. And then Apple says, yeah, I want to know then if what we're reading is a literal story or if this is just something people can just take it any way they want it. And Michael says it is a story to guide you. It is a holy book. Is it literal? No, it is not literal. And then he says, oh, so we just put that aside then, because this God is definitely in what they're showing us here. If this is just something to guide us, it is showing us that God, the God that created us, not perfect. He was incompetent. He was kind of drunk. Why are we worshiping God? I know this is wild. And Michael's just like listening very calmly. And then he says, that is where you come to truth, dear heart. And Apple says, and the truth is, and Michael says, it does not require truth. It is truth as is. So it's funny because we all kind of we wonder why it's, we've had thousands of years of craziness here. And this guy's actually like asking. And so Apple says, were we really cursed by this God? And do we need a son, Jesus Christ, to be killed to wash away all our sins? And this is where I think Linda comes in. We do not continue this conversation, for that is not the nature of this conversation and this show. So I think Linda had enough. And then Apple goes on, but you are truth. You are to give me truth. And Graham says, we go on to another caller. Thank you very much for calling. And Apple says, all right. But the next question, then I wanted to learn about the word apple, because why is his name Apple? Because there's an apple in the Bible. And apple is a Hebrew word for an orange. Or no, apple. No, an apple is this word right here. And then incidentally, the Hebrew word for an orange is golden apple, gold apple, or apple of gold. And the Hebrew for potato is ground apple. Okay, and then why is the forbidden fruit an apple? So the Latin word for apple is malum, which happens to be a homonym for the Latin word of evil. Since the argument goes the forbidden fruit caused the fall of man and humanity's expulsion from paradise, it is certainly a terrible evil connected to apple. So interesting. And then, did Eve really eat an apple? Well, the Bible doesn't specify what type of fruit they ate. What did God say about eating the apple? You must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must touch it or you will die. And this is where the serpent says, you will not surely die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So we do want that third eye to open, because then you can see we're here to be love and let the doubt go. And then she's I don't know, this was barred from the garden, but it's interesting that his name was Apple. And how the apple is very connected to all of this. Okay. So anyways, now Rose calls in and she says, my question is sandwiched by the practical application. I'm sorry if I start crying. I feel like in the past when I have followed my heart and followed the love, I admit that there's a lot of ego and other things, but I've had negative consequences in a lot of ways and been punished for it. I can also take a higher spiritual view and see that's exactly what was meant to happen, that everyone involved had a soul contract, pre-agreement, blah, blah, blah. A normal set of social situations in normal communities that people don't really recognize that. So I'm in a situation where there's a possibility of moving forward in my life. I'm really struggling with the sense of wanting to hold that love and follow my heart and the truth. But also I don't want to be ostracized from society. I'm facing prosecution and just wanted to know if you have any comments about how to practically, when following your heart, how to move forward, how I might do this in a more positive way now. And Archangel Michael says, you are well named. So anyone named Rose usually is very, very close to the Divine Mother, and they've taken on a pretty big mission. So the truth is within your heart. The truth is within your being. And in many ways, in some ways, repeating the question of Dear Apple, which is, do I have to suffer the persecuted and in many ways feel like I am being killed in order to be purified and go forward? How many of us have suffered here? I don't know any light worker that hasn't suffered. So we've really, really learned what doesn't work. And he says suffering was never part of the divine plan. And we know that there are many belief systems in the third, old, this is the old third, the cleaned up third is really loving, where we love everybody, that have said you have to suffer to purify. That is not the case. Put yourself into community that is supportive of the heart, that is supportive of the truth, and of your pursuit of anchoring the fullness of your being, because this is what we are talking about. We're not talking this day or any day about a defiant, uncaring, distant deity. We are talking about that spark of the divine, of the Mother, Father, One, that truth that lives within you. So we're not here to suffer. We're not here to allow doubt, denial, limitation to run our lives. Just we're here to be love for self and love for the past, and just let the old behavior from the belief systems dissolve away, basically. Not to hold on to situations in the past where we feel like we've been a victim. Yeah, Darren.
So I gather he's saying that you find the people who will support your beliefs, your heart, your truth, and stay with that community rather than trying to go outside of it.
Well, lots of light workers have been born into families that are difficult, and we've done that on purpose. We've dropped in on purpose into that to get a really good sense of what doesn't work, bring our light into those situations. Whether the family members want to change into that vision of love that you carry, it's up to them. If they don't change, we're not here. We don't have to stay with that. Yeah. So then you just ask. You just ask our guides for help, and the help comes. We're never alone.
Yeah.
And
So we find a community like this group here, for example.
This is a good group. You're with another good group, aren't you? Like the
Yeah, a couple other good groups. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not here to suffer. We're not here to be put down or not believed, or all the different ways that we can be treated. And what we really want, yeah, Ken.
We're not here to be victims.
No, we're not here to be victims. Not at all. Yeah. And the more we come out of that old way of being, we want that to go into all the systems too, because we want our every being to be lifted up here. We shouldn't have a homelessness issue. We shouldn't have nobody having enough food to eat. We shouldn't have an addiction crisis. We have a terrible mental illness issue. Yeah. So the more we're really loving the self, and we're extending that out wherever we go, it makes a huge difference, because then we're not suffering. And then people can rise up into that as well. Anybody we're around. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the timer just went off. So I think that's probably a good place to stop right there. Remembering the fullness, just being in that, remembering who we truly are. Remember. He says it's not clearing. It's remembering. Where was that? Let's go back to that. Where does he say that? It is remembering and letting go. So here, it is not clearing so that you can finally embrace love. It is remembering, letting go, and acceptance of the fact that you are loved, that you are loved and lovable, and that you are the essence of love. And when that acknowledgement, that knowing, that truth emerges, then it is an expansion. You know what it is? It's like, they kept saying to me, can you come to no charge about the debt? Because there's actually two people that owe me money, and it's fairly big amounts. Can you get to no charge? Because I didn't even realize it, but I was holding on to it going, why aren't these people paying me? And now, and I got the sense of, can you just stand back and love them? Maybe they don't have any money. Maybe they can't pay you. That's okay. And then when I let go all the emotional charge around it, money came in from a whole different source. It just came flowing in. So there's abundance all around us. It doesn't, that those people have a choice whether they want to, get in the flow or not. And it's not up to me. I can be in the flow though without letting it affect me. And it's the same about the past. You can get in the flow. You don't have to let it affect you. Yeah, Darren.
Yeah, there's lots of abundance all around us. We just have to let it in, that's all.
Yeah, and it helps if you're just loving. You're sending out love.
Yeah.
No charge. No charge to any feeling that's not loving. No charge. Remember when Michael said if it evokes emotion in you, it's a good one to look at.
Yeah.
So
Well,
those people owing me money, it was like, ah! Now I'm laughing at myself because I was like, oh, what is this? Now I'm like, oh, I can just love them. I can just love them. They're my
yeah.
friend.
And when you can laugh about it, that means you're not attached to it anymore.
No more attachment to it. I can talk about it and laugh about it.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm sure that I was gifted with those people to get to this point.
Right,
Do
exactly.
all that work. Like I put a lot of work into it and then not get paid. And it's great. I'm so happy that that happened now because now I've got a good example and I get it. All right, so let's send out some love because I think we should be sending Steve some love
Yeah.
and Mickey, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Ken.
No, Lillian,
Oh, Lily.
we need to do this invocation for Susie and her daughter.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to read it out? I think he meant the blessing and virtue of grace because there's not, as far as I know, that's a divine quality. It's not really a universal law.
Okay, that whatever it is, but I don't want to forget it.
Okay, well, do you want to read it? Do you want to read it right now?
That's fine with me. I just
go down to chat.
well, I don't think I can get to chat.
I know I can't get to chat right now.
Go ahead.
Oh, I know how we can though.
Yeah, I got the chat right here. So what he wrote is, I invite everyone to invoke the universal law of grace on behalf of Suzanne and Linda Maresca, that the Divine Mother in her mercy grant the two of them the Airbnb that they've selected.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, so let's send some love out to Susie, Mirinda, Steve, Mickey, Sadie, wherever you are. Is there anybody else that we want to send love to? No. Okay, well, let's just send it
Oh, us.
Okay, yes, Ken and Lillian. Darren, would you like some love?
Not just us, but I mean everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody on that list.
Oh, everyone. Okay, let's do the list. Let's just do it. Let's encompass everyone.
Why not?
Well, why not?
I mean, we're powerful. We can cover everybody.
That's right. We got enough love for sure.
Yeah. We're going to cover everyone, and we're going to cover helping everyone remember, let go, and accept the fact that we are loved and lovable. Okay, let's do 10 minutes. I'll see everyone in 10 minutes. we go.
Went so fast.
10
Yeah,
minutes,
yeah.
nothing. Mhm. For now, we're old pros at this. Mhm.
Well, I found it quite interesting because I got into, that slide there, that if you are if you are loved, you are loved and lovable.
Mhm.
And that really makes sense when you really get into it, because if you are loved, you will be loved because you attract that love to you, and you're also lovable. So, just by knowing you're loved, you accomplish all three of them automatically.
Exactly. Yep. And then you just automatically send it out to everybody.
Yeah,
You're not seeing them from glass half empty. You're seeing them glass full.
yeah.
Mhm. Everyone is glass full.
Yep.
Because it's
Well,
weird. When this eye opens, you can see the old systems. But the
Yeah.
key is to know that's not real. And we're here to see everyone as unique and magnificent and divine and in their angelic selves. Mhm.
When we are that way, if you polish off all the barnacles and sludge,
They're gone. They don't even, it's a non-issue.
They're an illusion.
Yes.
that's a what issue?
An illusion.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, that is true. Everything's an illusion, really, but
Well, love is,
that's what we're working with.
yeah, we're in this physical reality, but we're here to see everyone to remember who they truly are, you know. Mhm. And in that, none of these belief systems are in the higher realms. This
Well,
is
no.
human creation, what we've created here, and it's masterful. Oh my gosh, we're all believing it.
I found out tonight that when I closed my eyes, once again I saw the golden wall, what was written on them, and it was basically an expression of love.
Yeah.
So I was sharing that with everyone.
Beautiful. That's it. So simple, huh? Mhm. I can feel
Yeah, I find it interesting on my golden wall, that they're on there like tiles, and there's a
Mhm.
couple of them that really pop out, and they really stand out, and those are the ones I think I need to really pay attention to right now.
Cool.
Beautiful. Yeah, everybody's is different. There's symbols and languages, and I know I see all these languages running around close to the ceiling. I'm like, But then there's no ceiling, and I'm like, oh. It's pretty magical in there. Yeah. Okay, well, that was fun. Any more questions or comments or anything about that one?
Well, I got a comment now.
Mhm.
I found it very masterful how Archangel Michael handled Apple's question or his comments, whatever. I thought Archangel Michael handled it so beautifully that I don't know if any human could have done it that well.
Oh, it was brilliant. And if you go in and listen to the recording, he's not perturbed at all. This guy's upset. He's like, Michael's just like, yeah, And he wasn't the one that put an end to it. Like you can see there's a shift there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And Rose comes on and she's, the physical demonstration of it. And
Yeah, right.
this is practically what you can do. He just gives you practical advice. He is brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's no
Well,
judgment. He has
no,
absolutely no judgment of anything
no,
that's
no.
happening. He's just stating, what we can do about it.
It really gives us something to aspire to, to be like that all the time.
Yeah, That's why he's in charge.
Oh. He's learned all the lessons already.
He is all the lessons.
He's very old. He's like the oldest, one of the oldest, him and Gabrielle. And I think they are twins. So they're twin flames. One of them,
Really?
yeah, one of them's the twin. Yeah, they're the firstborn of the mother, the divine mother, father one. And I heard in one of the channelings, I heard Gabriel say, and my twin, but I can't remember if it was her or it was Michael. And I was like, oh, of course, that's how it is. They're twins. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Yeah. Anyways. All right, so Monday we'll do another big meditation. And then Tuesday we'll just keep going. We've still got a bit more of truth to do. And then we'll get into the law. Yeah. I'm really liking this one because it's such practical information.
Yeah.
Yeah. And stuff like I knew it before, but now it's like expanded. The more we go over these, the clearer they get.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah. We get into deeper and deeper levels of it, and more expanded versions, whatever, you know.
Yeah, just understanding it. It gets simpler and simpler. That's what I love about these teachings. They get simpler and simpler. Yeah, not meant to be complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, well, oh, I better stop the recording. Thank you everyone who's watching this. There will be more. Yep.